ama size ihtiyacım var bu oturumda. Tamam. Şöyle ben de 3. oturumdan bahsedeyim sizlere efendim. Evet, sahne toparlanırken zirvemizin 3. oturumunda
In our third panel, we focus on an area of enormous potential that Turkey has not yet fully harnessed: thermal tourism. In this panel titled Thermal Tourism, a new investment drive with Anatolia's geothermal treasure, we will explore how Turkey's rich thermal resources can align with high-end tourism vision. We will examine global examples and discuss how luxury thermal tourism can create both revenue and market diversification. We are hosting a very significant summit today. Thank you very much. Please be seated. The panel will be moderated by Mr. Ömer Tosun. Chairman of Cemiyat, Mr. Ömer Tosun, will moderate this panel. I would like to invite honorable speakers to the stage. Mr. Oya Narin, the President of Turkish Tourism Investors Association. Hello. We are in a very meaningful day. Another important person, Miss Julia Deveti Georgia. Here you are. Ömer Tosun. Mr. Mustafa Özdemir, MRP Hotels. Hello. This is again very significant panel. There will be important topics. Ömer Tosun will moderate this panel. I would like to say welcome to you. There is an interpretation as well. Our guests actually are putting on their headphones. If you need interpretation, you can actually get. Yes, I give the floor.
Continue in Turkish or you prefer in English?
Ses geldi.
Turkish.
Ses.
Geliyor mu?
Çok az.
Çok az mı geliyor?
Evet.
Peki.
Could you tell Ömer Bey they need to switch, they need to turn off the mic of the speaker. Ladies speak. Yes, thermal tourism is a very hot topic we have been discussing for a long time. We started our day with the with the vice president's speech in the morning. We have always been highlighting the importance of this. Julia is here. Açık olan diğerlerini kapar mısınız? Yes, because the other mics were open, so I'm sorry I could not hear what he said so far. Yes, we have another speaker here, and Oya Hanım is the chairman of the Tourism Investors Association in Turkey. I'm also a member of the executive board of this association. She has always been in charge. She has actively been working for a long time in this association. I don't want to take much time of yours. I'll just jump into the topic. We discussed on the greenhousing previously, and then touched upon the sustainability, and these are all the components of the sustainabilities. And we are now we will be talking about a compound of sustainability in tourism sector. In order for the tourism be sustainable in our country, we need to diversify it. How can we do that? While doing a trade. While making trade, you check competitors' stronger points. You may do SWOT analysis. You can check weaknesses or strengths of your competitors. As a country, we don't know if we made it, or we made it, but the master plans of such works have been left in a way. So we need to revise all these works. Let's check our strength. Thermal energy or thermal tourism is the strongest strongest characteristics we have, not only because of the presence of water. Water actually has 10 million minerals, maybe more, I don't know. What about the mineral value of water in Austria? Do you know it? More or less 2,000 in Afyon, in Austria or in Germany, the mineral value is nearly 2,000. But when you look at the values in Anatolia, they extract from the depths, so they come to the surface with a very rich of mineral. So our water is very useful, very healthy. So the water level actually very rich, and the mineral value is about 18 or 15,000, which are incredible numbers. What I'm saying is, we have very valuable water, so we need to use it in Anatolia. Yes, Julia. You may first introduce yourself. Renault Chateau. Where are you? In what facilities? If possible, you can also show it. Maybe we can start from you and then continue.
Thank you. Yes. Buon pomeriggio. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me? Yes. My name is Julia, and indeed I'm working for Relais in Chateau as network development. So basically, I go out there to find out hidden gems that we might be happy to add to our portfolio. And when I mention hidden gems, one perfect example is Museum Hotel that we have very close by. Maybe I can go quickly through the presentation, or
Aç.
if you, okay.
Sunumu açar mısınız lütfen?
Yes, you're ready. It's ready.
Ready? Okay, perfect. So, because maybe not everyone is familiar with Relais Chateau, so welcome to the world of Relais Chateau. Relais Chateau is an association of independent hotels and restaurants that we are now present in 65 countries, and we count 580 members approximately. We have both hotels and standalone restaurants, and gastronomy has always been one of our biggest focus. Indeed, as you can see, we have more than 300 Michelin stars within the network. We have a very unique collection because being an association and being all our members independent, we are not like hotel chains where basically they do standardize the service and the product and you already know which kind of pillow you will find or which kind of breakfast you will find. We rely on a very unique collection. If you go to Japan, you find ryokans. If you go to Morocco, you find riads. Basically, the majority of our hotels have never been conceived to be an hotel since the very beginning. There were something else like previous mills, previous convents, previous villas, then transformed into hotels. So that's why they are so peculiar of the region where they are located in, and they are the perfect mirror of the location they are in. And as we were saying, wellness has always been a great driver for our guests because, as we said, gastronomy has always been one of the majority of the clients coming through our doors. But as you can see, also relax and unwind has been one of the decision-making phase that the guest could face in order to enter a Chateau property. 2/3 of them, they said that they're willing to spend the night in a Relais Chateau property because of the relaxing in the perfect surrounding. I would take the chance to go to a quick tour around the world to check our beautiful spas, and then I come back here. So these were examples of some of the 160 Relais Chateau with spa labels that we have around the world. We give the Relais Chateau spa label according to many technical criteria like the square meters of the spa, how many treatments they do, how many cabins for the treatments they have. But I wanted to highlight here 3 major points from the spa label, let's say, checklist. First of all, the spa, as the property itself, has to be linked with the local traditions. For example, if the property is located in a vineyard, they might use the skin of the grapes to do the treatments. Or they might use the leftovers from the oranges from the breakfast to use them from the sauna. So very local attachment, very local touch, and holistic, let's say, approach. Because at the end of the day, the guests would like to live with a great memory from the experience at the spa as well. And if we think about the history of the spa in the hospitality, but not only, let's say that in the past, being alone was stressful because you were alone in order to face the danger. So if you think about the hammam in Turkey, or if you think about the Roman or the Greek bath, people were standing and spending hours in those baths, socializing and bonding and stay together. So being alone was stressful, let's stay with other people. Nowadays, it's the opposite. Being the city is so crowded, being with people is stressful. So we run away from people. And being in a spa, being in a relaxed situation is being alone. If you think that all the pictures we see about the spa, about the promotion of the treatments, you can always find a lady with the hot stones getting a massage, or always, a couple maximum, but a single person. So isolation is now the answer. what's coming next? Because we notice that there are already some trends of these new, let's say, social saunas in New York, for example, where there are facilitators and group of people coming to socialize and enjoying the sauna all together. So basically, maybe we should look back in order to see forward. We don't know yet. In order to see which trends the hospitality should take care of, as well in the, let's say, well-being and wellness section, we conducted a survey analyzing more than 700 luxury hotel guests traveling worldwide. And the first thing that came out is that definitely experiences are always the driver. If I ask you, do you remember which cloth you bought 5 years ago? I'm not sure that someone in the room will remember. But if I ask you, where have you been on holidays 5 years ago? I'm sure that everyone will remember. So once again, leveraging on the experiences is the answer and is key, once again. And well-being is definitely one of the key factors that our guests worldwide are looking for. But if you look at the next trend, so what's coming next, is not just wellness any longer and well-being. We are moving to healing. We are moving to a more, let's say, to feel healthier. It's not just the deep toe massage that you get at the spa. It's more that you come and you want to be regenerated, but by the treatments you had, by the experience that you have got. We see many examples, not Relais Chateau only, all around the world. There are places where you have the sleep therapy. There are places where you have entire weeks dedicated to regenerate your cells. So basically, it's not any longer having a massage, being in the hot tub and spending a nice day at the spa, but it's really going back home with the new path to follow in order to regenerate your body. Your life will be better after these treatments. Even if you consider that there is this new mini bar with these health items, not only the small mini bar section we are used to. And there is also this new approach named the silver bullet wellness. You know, silver bullet is when you try to find easy solutions to complex program. And this is what the guests are looking for. So coming to hotels, looking for science-based therapies, medical treatments. Either it will be a monk meditation level in Thailand or a genetic study in Germany. People would like to go back and feel like they have, you know, a path to follow, and they didn't just have a nice time at the spa, but they are doing something good for their health and for their body. And we will be definitely there back again afterwards, but just to mention a couple of examples, we have hot springs as well we can leverage on. We know we are really authentic. We don't want to create theme park out of something that we don't have. But when we have hot springs examples, I mentioned just two examples. One is in Japan, and is Nishimuraya Hokan. And you can see that, of course, they could open this hotel because of the destination. Everyone, if you ask them, which is the percentage of guests coming for the hot springs, the answer is 100%, because the destination itself is famous and well known for the hot springs. But we will see together afterwards that they do business out of that, and the average daily rate is kind of evident. And as well, moving to the other side of the world, going to Colorado, for example, we have another example of a place that wouldn't exist without the presence of the hot spring. And if you see the highest value, so $3,500 for a night in one of those rooms, that room,
How much
yes,
you say?
$3,500 per
a
night.
Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
okay. That's I'd like to declare.
Yes, and this is the best suite they have with the private bath inside. And this allows them to charge $600 more compared to the other category, similar room, but without the private bath. So not only the destination itself because of the bath, but everything you can build up and offer around is definitely a great source of business for these properties. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Herhalde duyduk değil mi?
I think everybody heard, huh? I think everybody heard that I think everybody heard that. You can imagine how powerful thermal is, and these examples show us that. Musa, please tell us how more can it get? How stronger can it get? Even beyond this. Hello. Before my address, my presentation, but I'd like to take you on a journey, let's say, with a video. Let's start with a video. Some examples, European examples. But by the way, please introduce yourselves. Okay, I will introduce myself after the video.
Ben biraz ayağa kalkmak.
So, need to stand up. Mustafa Özdemir from Izmir. I live in Vienna for the last 38 years. I delved into the world of tourism at the age of 16, couldn't get out since then, and I don't know anything else other than tourism. I think it's one of the best jobs to have, tourism, something in the world of tourism. Why? Because human resources, social life, and the beauties of the world, especially the beauties of our world, our Turkey, Turkish nation, Nevşehir, geothermal. I mean, we should crown this beauty with geothermal to double the potential, maybe even more. What are the global trends in around the world? Well, the World Tourism Organization of the UN, they announced that health and thermal tourism clients, number of those clients reached to almost 1.4 million, billion clients. That's the UN information. I don't know what's the breakdown of that. I mean, North America 12%, South America 8%, Europe 38%, Asia 30%, Africa and Oceania 6%. And top right is important for us, and we got that potential. Thermal health tourism global revenues 2009, 2000, what? 30 estimates, let's see. In 2019, 639 billion US dollars tourism revenues. And the expectation for 2030 is 1.3 trillion US dollars. 1.3 trillion. I mean, we still have 5 more years to go. 5 trillion, 300 billion. I think Turkey might have a contribution there. Potential thermal and health tourism is the biggest growing sector in tourism after the COVID pandemic. Again, it's not me, it's the UN still. It's the UN speaking. These are UN information. Global potential and distribution. Island, we said Island, Iceland a couple of times. But we have Japan, Thailand, all potential areas. Turkey is not visible on this map, but we can put it on the map, on this map. Thermal tourism potential of Turkey. I mean, Ömer was telling we got about 1,500 plus thermal resources. Sustainability is one issue, of course, especially it's important in tourism. Why? Because there are novel trends. This itself is a new trend, and people are asking, what's your footprint? Do you have a sustainability concept? I mean, these are the questions the clients ask before they go and book at a hotel. It's also critical for Turkey. In Central and Eastern Anatolia, Turkey holds a great potential. We talked about the Netherlands. Turkey is a nation that extends over 780,000 square kilometers. Use of geothermal, well, it will create infrastructure advantages. What I mean by infrastructure? Well, Jerome said a beautiful thing in his last address. Social license, he said. Social license. Do not forget about the human side of things, he said. In the area where you are planning to invest, please include those people and help them improve and develop and grow and strive, he said. And I think this is critical. And also tourism all around the year. I mean, we have tourism, a lot of it. We are a hospitable nation, and we have learned about this thing. Look at our coastlines. We have world-renowned brands. In terms of service, of course, there are certain setbacks with the infrastructure, but we can cover that up, not cover up, we can make up for it. But 12 year-round tourism or 12-month tourism, when does the season end? End of October, I think, on the coast. The summer ends around October. Yeah, I mean, normally when we say tourism, it's summer tourism. We got, especially most of our clients, all the facilities are closed from October to April, May. For example, there can be a simplification of the support mechanism, subsidies and incentives, and standardization. History is a part of this. Let's not ruin our nature. Let's not ruin our cultural heritage. The Indians say, we have inherited this soil from our children, they say, the American Indians, Native Indians. We're not talking about our own generation only. We have to think about our grandkids. So that's why we emphasize sustainability, our history, cultural heritage, natural heritage, geothermal, the power that comes out of the soil, directly touches the lives of the people, spiritually and materially, and tourism has a great potential. Digitalization, international branding, marketing, we also discussed about this, thermal tourism, strategy, action plans, branding. Those are the issues to consider. We discussed about master plans. In a couple of sessions, we talked about master plans. This won't happen without a master plan. Thermal spa tourism. Do we have thermal tourism? Yes, but it's not enough because of the higher potential. And then health tourism is critical. Again, we've been touching upon that issue. Health tourism is not for patients, it's not for hospitals. It's not just about hair implants. That's not the kind of health tourism. The health tourism, kind of health tourism we're talking about, is the kind of tourism activity that people endeavor for not becoming sick, for not getting sick. It's like a preventive care, which is so developed. It's kind of a very developed sector in Europe, and I think Turkey can replicate it as it is and use it for better purposes in a more efficient way to contribute to our national budget, I believe. Global trends, harmonized strategies, what they can be. Health is the new wealth. It is your richness today, it means. Health is the new wealth. Integral health, wellness, customized health practices, good prices, quality, availability, sustainability, corporate wellness. It's a growing trend. It's not just about individuals, as Julia was saying. It's a corporate wellness as a corporation, as a group, to take over the servicing of health facilities. It's not just about organizing meetings, but you're riding bikes in the nature, trekking, for example, walking out there, and there's competition. And as if athletes, you are treating yourself. You call it dynamic health as well. Digital health, that's critical. Many people have Apple Watches, really, counting your steps, your heart rate, etc. It tells you all. Strategic steps and recommendations. Well, Turkey can become a hub. In this sense, we believe Turkey's geothermal richness, medical infrastructure, natural patterns. Turkey has the potential to integrate all of these and package that with thermal tourism with the right policies, which is critical, and investor-friendly environments, investor-friendly investment environments. Many areas in Anatolia can develop even further thanks to thermal health tourism. I'll give you some examples. Stegerbach, it's a little town in Austria. In 1998, the first thermal investment was made. 1998, that's when the first investment was made again. 1,059 number of tourists in 1996. And with Austria becoming an EU member, that region was announced as a development zone. Austrians made great use of this area. In 2024, from 1998 to 2024, see the number of clients. In 2014, 213,000 overnight stays. In 2019, 251,000. Came the pandemic. After the pandemic, 2025 potential looks around 300,000 stays for this year. Since 1998, see the advent, see the progress, what happens from 1998 until 2025. EU has spent some 40 million euros worth of, invested 40 million euros, supported, let's say, 40 million euros employment. Just, in the golf course, this is a town. The town population is just 1,000. So this created this investment, some jobs for 600 people. 600 people out of 1,000. So the return on each euro is now 3 euros. It's a good success story, ain't it? And there's a replica. There might be replicates in Turkey as well. Why not? We can replicate this. Developing the thermal park and accommodation facilities, etc., had a good contribution. Again, in 1998, what was in place and what additional services have been added or facilities have been added. This is the chart demonstrating the changes between. This is a before and after chart. So in Turkey, the health tourism invites us to a green field, not only within our body but outside in the nature as well, topped with Turkish hospitality. It will become more than a holiday. It will become an experience of a lifetime. So why not take the journey together for a better future? Thank you. Mustafa, after this presentation, let's go find ourselves a thermal facility and dip ourselves in the pool, huh? It makes you want to do that. Ayla, as the chairwoman of the Turkish Tourism Investors Association, you cannot hear me? Anyway, Ayla, please. I would like your take on mass tourism. I mean, could you compare? It's a violent comparison, I think, mass tourism and the tourism modalities that we're talking about since this morning. Which one would you prefer? Which one would you recommend for Turkey? And to diversify Turkish tourism, what would be the thermal and thermal health tourism? What would be its position? I'm not talking about hair grafts, hair implants. I'm not talking about broken arms and legs. I'm talking about wellness type of health. I mean, in a sense that Mustafa was telling us about. Where do you think the potential is? Well, let me give you a laughable answer. My first interview was when I was 16. That was one of the big newspapers and a big coincidence. And I was asking my mom and papa, how to respond to the questions. They told me not to focus on the questions, but say whatever you want. So that's what I'm going to do. So thank you, anyway. Thank you for all your efforts. It's a first step, just the beginning of a journey. And thank you also for taking that step and for accommodating us here in Cappadocia. We're also happy to be here, see around, be at the heart of Anatolia. It's good. It's good for me to be here. Thank you. I mean, as the head of an association, the Tourism Investors Association, that would be one of my perspectives before I respond to your question. But Turkey holds this great potential. The numbers in Turkey, let's remember, 2 million beds, 60 million tourists, 60 billion plus US dollars of revenues, a good impact on the Turkish economy, and tourism is one of the pillars of the Turkish economy. In the last 20 years, Turkey's economy is growing despite the effects of the COVID pandemic and other economic setbacks. Still, at that rate, growth rate is at an average of 6%, 5 to 6%, and the slowdown is no more than 2%. So anyway, the main sectors have to grow, regardless of the setting. Exports, if we're speaking of production of products, exports should grow, because we need the human resources, we need to feed them as well. And also we talk about tourism. Tourism, of course, is a foreign currency magnet, creating jobs for youngs, especially between the years of 18 to 30. So we have, Turkey has a young population of around 40 million. So Turkey is very advantageous for tourism. How about further improving 2 million beds? Well, 2 million beds, it will grow, and there are breakdown segments. Geothermal is one of them. Especially when I look at the map of Turkey, it's on the wall behind you. The geothermal capacity of Turkey is well evident there, especially in southeast, east, and central Anatolia. And these potentials are not just about thermal; it's about social potential as well, wellness. And we can just, work on this, integrate it to the Turkish culture. But also, looking at this picture, distinguished participants, we had the vice president here. He placed an emphasis on one thing: development and planning. Development cannot has to go hand in hand with planning. So in tourism, let's go back between 1990 and 1990, 50,000 beds jumping to 300,000 beds, from 300,000 beds to 9,000, 100,000 beds, and since 2000 and in 24 years now we come to 2 million, a bedding capacity of 2 million, thanks to the efforts of our planning efforts and the World Bank funding and planning. The South West Antalya project, for example, the inauguration of the first Hilton, for example. Now Istanbul's touristic capacity, bedding capacity is around 300,000. So the State Planning Authority, thanks to their efforts, that was a government agency, and the other ministries had worked very hard to do this, the government and the World Bank funding, etc. So planning is the key word. Without planning, nothing will improve. And we have seen the setbacks without planning, what's out there. Thank you for the tour. So speaking of the 2 million beds, geothermal will have, let's say, 40,000 beds, and we have to work meticulously on this as we are setting a geothermal tourism target. Both speakers before me have touched upon the numbers, and I will focus especially on wellness economy. Let's look at the world. 9.5 trillion US dollars, 2023 figures. That number has gone up a little bit in 2024. So in 2030, the world tourism will go up to $15 trillion. Wellness is $6.3 trillion, which corresponds to 6% of the global GDP. And in 2028, that's expected to go up to $9 trillion US dollars. So of $15 trillion, $9 trillion will come from wellness. But what it is, it includes mineral resources, spa, nutrition, physical activities, personal hygiene, preventive medicine. So geothermal is an overarching umbrella integrating all this, and that's the kind of planning approach we should have. Wellness tourism only, just in terms of accommodation and travel, it is worth of 830 billion US dollars as of 2023, but it's going to go up to 1.4 trillion US dollars in 2028. So in 15.5 trillion US dollars, wellness is going to have some share of 1.4 trillion. Well, that all requires planning, good planning. So let's look back to 1980s, 1990. All the 3 decades of planning now requires to be crowned with another planning activity. Look at Greece, look at Egypt, for example, Saudi Arabia. These are our neighbors. We see and work their plans. They talk about 800 million or 50 billion US dollars, and significant tourism steps are taken. Wellness, thermal, everything. So everybody breaks down thermal, and none of them are luxury. The world population is growing fast, so you cannot achieve these numbers with luxury facilities and luxury services only. And the Vice Minister also thanked us and asked us to come up with a new strategy work. I think geothermal tourism requires another strategy, another strategic planning activity. 40,000, 41,000 bedding capacity, that's great to have. Maybe it will be 100,000, maybe it will be 200,000 in the near future, because the product that we're marketing is so rich in terms of thermal, so rich in terms of water. Are you going to be able to find a similar quality water in Saudi Arabia? Eastern Byzantine Empire, for example. Take it all the way to Greece, Eastern Roman Empire. You have water everywhere. We have a social public bath culture, and you have water everywhere since history. So we are just living on top of the culture, in that culture, and we need to develop it further, because that's what we've inherited. Speaking of products, by the way, recently we talk about solitude, meditation, for example. turning within yourself. All this is about is an integration of East and West. These were not the issues and concepts that, I took up yoga. It was around 1980, and my family was so scared seeing me meditate and do the yoga practices. But yeah, I mean, we wanted to go to India, and they wanted to send me to Paris. They didn't want to send me there. So this is not the case now. It's changed. It's a new horizon broken with Asia on that horizon. But in between, we shouldn't lose Turkey in between Asia and Europe. We are the Eastern Romans, the bath, the public baths, Turkish baths. We should endow that with a format such that it will become our brand. That's one of our products. Other than that, we got a great culture, we got great nature. I mean, countries with no water are faring well with tourism. Saudi Arabia, 50 degrees Celsius, manages to bring people in the middle of the desert, thousands and thousands of tourists, and they can succeed. If they can do it, we can do it with the Anatolian climate. And Cappadocia has a separate place, of course. It's World Heritage. Plus, add to the mix the geothermal opportunities that you have, and people like yourselves placing such great importance on this issue. I mean, it's always the investors in such matters to break new ground. So, that's where I see we're standing at. Turkey has a bright future in the world of tourism, I believe, just like in geothermal, but geothermal health, while we are integrating that, we should not focus on hotels and accommodation facilities only. We should not forget about all of this as branding this as a health product, so that the people will know. Of course, we are living closed lives, introvert lives as a nation. I mean, in geothermal, thermal developments, the biggest sociological issue to consider is exactly this. I mean, in a global sense, when you go to a spa, you go with your partners, you go with your spouses. But when you go to the bath, we go there with kids and everything. Sometimes you're separated. So we should focus on that. I mean, that's what I mean by paying social attention, or paying attention on social aspects, social habits. And then the Aegean, Antalya region, the Mediterranean, for example, has a great bedding capacity. We should promote thermal and geothermal health practices there to raise awareness, wider awareness, I believe. In Ekinciköyceğiz, for example, there's a mud camp with thousands of hotels with thousands of beds, and I mean, none of those hotels are not taking those mud, but all the hotel clients go to the mud baths. In Kuşadası, Davutlar, for example, is a natural park with a thermal resource. I mean, although hotels can't bring in the thermal waters to their hotels, clients go there to those thermal resources to see that. So this should be worked out in a planned approach. And also pension funds are available. Pension funds and social security institutions should be involved to develop these cooperative efforts. Preventive medicine, for example, is one of them. All over the world, such institutions are working on those models. We had the development bank here. We worked with them. On PPP models. PPP is a good model, public-private partnership, to cascade this all over Anatolia. So I don't know if it was an answer to your question, but still. But yeah, you said one thing that's very important. Insurance companies, not insurance companies, social security institutions, private insurers. I mean, they spend a lot of money. I am also covered the private insurance policy. Every year I get right to go to a spa, for example. That's what I get. I pay my monthly premiums, and that's what I get. I go to my doctor, etc., and he prescribes me a week every year, a week of spa. And this is spreading widely and fast. And we are working with some insurance companies in our hotels, for example. We cooperate with them. For example, this attracts 5,000 additional clients. Just one insurance company. I think it's in Balçova we have an example of that. There's an agreement with Norwegians. They bring in insured the government established this agency USHASH as a coordinating authority, but I mean this is quite technical. Let's not go in there. But including security companies, yeah, that's trust, and trust is important in health. Can I get the map back on the map? Yeah, this one, this beautiful map. It tells us actually a lot of things. Those areas, those colors that you see are areas where you have the fault lines, where geothermal is even hotter. I mean, anything other than dark blue are our regions, thermal regions. And when I say thermal waters, I'm just for the purposes of hotels. You don't need hundreds and hundreds of degrees of Celsius. I mean, when you go beyond 60 degrees, that's even better. You can heat yourselves with that heat, etc., etc. So all the red areas and all the yellow or orange areas, anything that's not blue and navy blue, so all those areas are geothermal areas. It's such a great treasure. Almost 80% of the nation is thermal. We're sitting on the thermal beds. So I agree totally with you, Lady Oya. And we have seen Julia's examples also. It's all evident, isn't it? But the question remains from where to start. We have to make that decision. In which direction to start proceeding? We need a plan. We need a plan, master plan. First and foremost, are we going to start from the tip of the pyramid? It's going to be a grassroots start. If we start from the grassroots, then we have to think more about our reputation. We have a lot of thermal spas, for example, thousands, or maybe hundreds and hundreds. Okay, we have them. Okay, how about what's the reference point for Turkey, for example? We have people here coming from Bingöl, Bitlis, from easternmost provinces. We have those colleagues here. I see you all. Thank you for coming. So, I mean, what are we going to tell these guys coming from the other end of our nation? I've been there. We went there to Bingöl, the eastern province. We had a couple of meetings there with the vice president. My personal view was to start from the tip of the pyramid. How? Well, with small scale, maybe like Relais Chateau, to bring those facilities here thermally, put them in these areas, in serene, peaceful places in the nature, in the heart of the forest, for example, but small, without exaggerating, without damaging, so small as not to incur any damages on the environment, none of the trees in the forest, etc. But get these luxury brands here. And Turkey starts out to be renowned as a luxury thermal hotspot. And then you can go from the tip of the pyramid to the bottom with 4-star, 3-star hotels. I mean, there are baths in Turkey, public baths in Turkey, baths. I mean, Turkish bath is a Turkish bath. You see the Turkish bath in Europe, it doesn't look like a bath, and the ones we have don't look like a good bath here, neither. So what do you think? Starting from the tip of the pyramid, but of course in a planned way, or starting at the grassroots level from top to bottom, or from bottom to top? What do you think, Julia?
Start from top, the luxury hotels, and then come down to the other sections, or started from bottom to up.
I think that one doesn't exclude the other, because as she was saying, we have many beds to fill, and not just the luxury customers will do that. And it's true. Of course, I do care about the luxury guests because this is our segment. But for example, if we think about the example in Japan, that village in Japan, they have 6 baths with hot springs, which are public. And everyone can access for free those baths if they are staying in the village, wherever. They don't have to stay in the Relais Chateau property, that of course I would wish they would, but they can stay everywhere in the village, and staying in an hotel in the village, they can access the hot spring for free. So this is an example where luxury can stay next to let's say, more basic accommodation styles. It doesn't have to be 100% luxurious. But of course, the more the luxury segment enters a destination, of course, the highest ADR, the longest length of stay, the percentage of occupation rises. So of course, in my personal point of view, the luxury has to be the driver, but one doesn't exclude the other. So we can go, let's say, together. Yes.
Perfect. This is, I think, that's the main. I got my answer, but I want to ask Mustafa Bey. We have 9 minutes.
Çok cevap vereyim.
19 dakikamız var.
Only 9 minutes left, unfortunately. I can give 4 minutes to you. We can actually start from the tip of the pyramid or from the grassroots. If you want to be a brand, that might be difficult if you start from the top of the pyramid, because everyone could request for luxury. Everyone actually knows Hollywood stars, you know. Luxury is something very attractive, so it may be very useful for branding, of course, but not only the hotel itself, but also publicly open thermal investments are very attractive and important, and the small hotels can send their clients to those public spas as well. The thermal hotel have their ancillary spas on the top of the mountain, and there are some different hotels in the vicinity, and the people, the locals, can also come there. This might be another investment. You may have a luxury hotel with many baths, spas, etc., but you can also have some publicly open spas scattered around a place on the top of the mountain, for example. The most important thing is to assure the same standards, and taxation policies should also be attractive so that you can drive the investment. It is very important, you know, for the investors, taxation policies. It is very important for tourism as well. It is sensitive policy. Touristic places might be impacted politically. You make investment, but no one comes. What will happen then? The return might come very after. So luxury is also very important, but you need to keep it in a balanced way. Yes. I checked the numbers to elaborate more. It is a fact that, according to our projections, 130 million tourists will be the number Turkey will welcome by 2033. According to the global tourism trends, if the share of the wellness will be 10%, so there is a very big number in front of us. Checking my notes again. Expenditures per person is $1,600. And the standard revenue of a regular tourist, for example, is 600. So the income from wellness is 2 times higher than the income coming from a regular tourist. So Maslow triangle should also be adopted. Maybe yes, high segment products should be placed on the top of the pyramid, but basic needs is coming first. People need this service of health. Actually, these are minerals, health in minerals, rich minerals in health. So the insurance issues is another tool inside the entire package. But if you take step by step, you can actually provide very luxurious services at the end of the day. It will not only be spa. this will be silver bullet, which covers many solutions and many services, much more creative. This, of course, requires expertise. It is possible to start so many small facilities, but you should constitute many issues. For example, yoga and spa service, thermal service, etc. But it is not that easy, of course. Relais Chateau could do that maybe 100 years past that you reach this level. I don't know how many products more which can make 1,000 euro sales. So it requires a very special touch. I believe a pyramid structure is accurate way to follow, because the structure in Turkey is actually reverse pyramid structure. There are a few one-star hotel, two-star hotel, the five-star hotels. There are so many in Turkey. We prepared a report. We feel it in comparing with Italy, with France, etc. They have very nice 3 or 4-star spa hotels, thermal services provided. Their bone is much more stronger, actually. But the pyramid in Turkey is reversed, so we cannot bring the prices to the top level, because the standards are maybe given at 3 or 4-star hotel level. Everything must be developed, of course. Planning is required, as you mentioned, and there are very valuable NGOs and representatives should come together to discuss on important issues. Maybe we should first wrap up what is the main point and the message we would like to convey, and then we can ask for more incentives to this issue. In the 6th or in the 5th regions, that is possible to do. There are remarkable incentives given by the state as well, so we can make use of that. We can develop it. Yes, actually, the picture is crystal clear. So what we have to do is to discuss. So that you can discuss, you should organize workshops. But of course, we should not have internally discuss on that. We have to have externalize expertise, etc. We need to work on that together, and we can prepare a master plan for increasing the value of the thermal and the wellness. We have only 5 minutes. We actually went to Karlovy and to Hungary together with the mayors of some major cities, and their water quality is very high. Apart from the new facilities constructed in Austria, our facilities are much more beautiful. Actually, their facilities are a little bit old, but they have stuff to provide thermal spa service for treatment purpose. We need to educate, we need to train our staff to provide this thermal well-being services for treatment purpose. It is important. You go there, for example, they implement a different methodology on chin treatments or knees for your knees. In water, they provide these types of treatments, so we need to have qualified thermal treatment and well-being and spa stuff. Thank you. I respect you all. My name is Dr. Ilgaz Nacakoğlu. I am the president of the Hot Springs Association in Turkey. Apart from the red ones, when you look at the blue ones, we have thousands of thermal sources, hot springs, etc. The blue ones, actually, in almost 81 provinces, we have thermal resources. one of the main problems we have is the following. We have 1 year Turkish bath culture. They are wide, they are worldwide brand, of course, but unfortunately hot springs are not. Local administrations in the cities, for example, establish some facilities for hot springs, and this left, or it remains only in that way, but they didn't become any brand. And even the administrators do not know anything technical about the hot springs water quality or the content, etc. When you look at the thermal, it has so many components. You can do it together with wellness, together with cure, together with rehabilitation or the physical treatment, or you can also use the thermal only for recreational purpose. But planning is prerequisite at the beginning, as the lady mentioned. So every hot spring, of course, may not serve for the international well-being or the spa issues. We have some hot springs, some thermal resources, very strong ones, but with no opportunity to transport, for example. So we have to work together to fix these issues. As USAŞ, as our association, we started working on some spots. There are some highlights, and we initiated a project. And there are also some areas, Van, Edirne, Kozaklı, we highlighted. Today we are in Cappadocia, Sivas, and similar places. New attempts, new movements we are planning, but education, training is extremely important. And for those using the thermal resources, we need to upgrade their information. And from the grassroots, as Kemal mentioned, we should also educate people who will use these sources and who will be specialized in hot springs and thermal resources. The people have different titles: hot spring expert or thermal spa technician, etc. There are only simple titles in our country. I'm sorry. We are closing down. There is one point which is very significant. In 2021, there was unfortunately a barrier in front of the thermal tourism, which was imposed by the Ministry of Tourism. Ismail, you know it, for the allocations of the thermal stations. Minister of Tourism will give the allocations to the facilities. When it's said like that, there is also an infrastructure contribution price. You should go to bid for that. You do the project for that. If you want to establish a facility in any place, Ministry of Tourism should call for a tender. You will make the feasibility for that. Yes, that is the case, unfortunately, but it should be changed as soon as possible. It should be as it was. We need to be able to take the advantages of these incentives. It should not be subject to the procurement law. That is not the case. I'm sorry. Only 2 minutes. My name is Dr. Kemal Aydın. The World Longevity Forum, actually, we organized in our country. The 1,000 years ago, longevity actually was described by Ibn Sina 1,000 years ago. 23rd of April is the festival for children. So 8th of June is actually the day for longevity. We were in Sweden last week, and they established their association on this field 50 years ago. So the constitution on the longevity in Turkey actually was written in the ancient place in Anatolia. We were in Divri, therapy with smell or therapy by music, etc. Some customized therapies are developed in Turkey, and we allocated this year totally for this year, and we will celebrate this year as the first anniversary of the longevity. The preventive medicine, the functional medicine, yes, before getting sick, you should be able to prevent. We discussed on this issue in Izmit during travel Turkey. This year is extremely important for us. You are all invited to Ankara to celebrate the first anniversary of longevity in Turkey. And we will have an expo. We will organize this expo, 1,000 year history of medicine. Water and health, we go to Turkish bath. We don't know how much time you should spend over there. Turkish bath is very famous around the world, around everywhere, but there is no accreditation for that, or there are no standards for that. Some new departments should be opened, maybe medicine. This is actually the matter of the world. I'm very happy to be here. I thank you so much. We declare you as an envoy of longevity to UNESCO. Thank you. Thank you very much. Julia, thank you so much for being here. You came from France, you come from Istanbul, and you are from Austria. Istanbul is the closest place. Maybe you honored us. Thank you so much. Just after this panel, there will be another panel regarding energy. Thank you. Yes, we actually made comparisons between Turkey and some European countries. We discussed on the market issues. It was very fruitful, and we have again gifts. Ali Jayakçı, acting president of Jamyak, I would like to have you to the stage. Thank you so much.